Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 135. I'm Dan, your host as usual, and after a long month, I'm finally joined back by my co-host, Samson. Samson, it's good to have you back on the show. Are you ready to talk VR again?
Oh, I am so ready. so much VR to talk about. So I hope the listeners and or viewers are excited to listen to me talk about what I've been playing for the last month.
Yeah, because normally you always have like a long list of what you've been playing. So being a month away, I'm kind of scared, but it's fine. This is going to be a getting back to regular scheduling program kind of episode. So we're going to take it straight back to basics. So straight off the gate, Samson, let's get straight into it. What we've been playing. I'm going to let you go first. Maybe because I think I've been playing quite a bit too, and you've been playing quite a bit. Maybe we can go back and forth.
I'll try to mix in the ones you've also played because we have some overlap here. So okay. Maybe I'll start with one I did, and then I'll go to one we both did, and try to beep bop boop around.
Sounds great. Okay, take it away.
All right. So, listeners out there, I sold my car, and with a portion of that, I picked up myself a PS5 and a PlayStation VR 2. And Dan,
nice.
Dan, I'm having a lot of fun with this thing.
Yep. Tell me about it.
First of all, Gran Turismo 7. I'm almost at 25 hours, I think, in this already. I rolled what would be credits on, I think it's book 39, and there's like a bunch of books. You unlock cars, and they have you do particular races or whatever. So I've got a few more bonus books to do, but I've unlocked the weekly challenges that I can do now. And it's just absolutely incredible. It might be in my top 3 like VR games I've ever played. The visuals, stunning. Inside the car, my first race ever I get in, I accidentally did one of these musical ones. I don't know, I'm driving some old car, and I see my reflection in the wheel of like in the I'm in a convertible, so the sun's hitting the wheel, and I nearly crash, like looking at myself, just playing with my own reflection. But really, the sounds. My first rain course, I was like, whoa, I drive for work. So I drive in the rain, pretty often, basically every time it rains. And it sounded just like driving in the rain. I was like, wow, this is incredibly immersive. And then the mirrors mirror.
The mirrors do mirror. And I was about to say, they've got all the little physics, environmental physics perfect in that game. Like, they've absolutely nailed it, to be honest. And I'm assuming Forza on Xbox is very similar. I think these simulation games have got to the point where it's super realistic. But then having that in VR is just next level. Do you have the headphones in as well whilst you're playing?
I've been using mostly the earbuds. Sometimes I'll put these on, but they're a little bulkier, so the thing kind of it gets uncomfortable for long sessions. And honestly, I don't mind the earbuds, but I do like it does sound better in these. I will say that. It's just I'd trade the comfort for the little less
audio immersion.
Yeah, exactly. The rain, I will say the rain could affect my vision a little bit better, right? It looks great on the windshield. It even beads up and rolls down like up your window, up the side. Wild. But it doesn't really affect my vision, so to say, like as much as it would in real life. Like I feel like I can still see pretty good.
That's fair. I mean, that would cause a lot of issues because if it affects your vision, then people playing online who have not got cockpit mode on are just going to smoke you. So then that will make it redundant. So I guess I'm glad they've made cockpit mode accessible no matter if it does rain. Otherwise, no one's going to play it. Or there's going to be a lot of crashes. So.
Speaking of a lot of crashes, I did get into multiplayer with a few friends. And That was fun. It was great. I think we got in 4 or 5 people, and then another time I played with just one friend.
Yeah.
I think I might start adding into some, weekly or bi-weekly GT
Hmm.
events for all our PSVR listeners. Get at the Discord. Let me know if you're interested in this. I think it could be fun.
And you're not playing with the steering wheel, right? You've got controller.
No, sir. All PS5 controller, and the haptics are crazy when you're braking. The thing's like hard to brake. The
Hmm.
gas feels great. When you're driving on dirt, the thing's like blah, 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 blah.
It's all over
You
the
know,
place. Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. It's incredible. I don't play with the motion steering. I play with the joystick.
Yeah.
I'm just so
Yeah.
used to it. Does have me googling racing wheels, but I haven't. That's
I'm sure when
the
a
big
hot deal
purchase.
comes your way, you'll snap it up. You'll snap
Yeah,
it up.
Black
So
Friday
just
maybe.
to clarify here, when you sold your car, that you didn't sell your car for the price of the PS5 and PlayStation VR, right?
Absolutely
You got
not. No, no, no.
yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, did you trade your car for a virtual car,
What
essentially?
One of my buddies from college actually texted me and he said, "Man, I'm just so happy you made the choice to get a PlayStation and PlayStation VR2 instead of spending it all on an Apple Vision Pro."
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair. The Apple Vision Pro is yeah, it's too early to even think about spending that much money.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have so much more fun with the PlayStation VR. So I bet you're wondering why I sold it now. You're probably really confused, right? Like,
I mean, I can get it if you weren't using it.
yeah,
It makes sense. But yeah, there are some things that I do really like about it. And it's pretty much, I mean, it is brand new, right? So it's hard for me to tell like what will be quote unquote normal going after I play all these games I bought.
yeah,
But it has become my daily driver for when I'm home playing, right?
yeah,
I'm basically always throwing it on, and then the Quest has become what I play with outdoors or on the go.
yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And how do you like the haptics on the head? Like, does that add anything to you, or because that's something that's very unique, right? That doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah, it's pretty subtle from what I've felt in games so far, which would be, believe is in Tetris Effect and
Hmm.
Pistol Whip.
Yeah, when you
Um,
get hit in the head.
yeah, so I've felt it in there. In Tetris Effect, I don't even know when it happens because that game you're just like I'm so enthralled. It's the
You're
only
so
thing I can
focused.
focus on. Yeah, exactly. It's what I like to play when I don't want to think when I can't think like I don't want to think about anything else because you can't
Hmm.
play that game and think about anything else and
No,
succeed.
that
Certainly not at
game
higher
Tetris
levels.
Effect, I still I love it so much in terms of like visuals, music, and such. But it is hard. It's a hard game. I think we spoke about it like episodes and episodes ago. But Tetris Effect, as good as it is, you got to be good at Tetris.
100%. I
You
believe
know.
I've beaten easy on the quest and maybe normal, but I eventually it gets to a point where I do start really struggling on normal mode. And then I think there's like an expert level, which
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I could be the beginning of those.
Mm.
But I
Has
love
it
it anyway.
been has it been a bit weird or noticeable to you from going from the Quest 3 lenses to the PSVR 2
All
lenses
right,
or
so yeah, generally a few things are very noticeable. One, I find the PlayStation VR 2 to be more immersive in the sense that it block like I have no nose hole, right? It just goes
Mhm.
right onto the nose. So I'm completely blacked out. And it's black, right? So I don't
Yeah.
see any of that. I do like that. But I do has a really small sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like very small. And I didn't even quite realize it till I was just chilling in a car in GT7. I'm like, oh, you could read the knobs, right? Like
Mhm.
underneath AC and all that. And it was slightly blurry. So I moved it and I was like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
not blurry. It's just like, it's so, and that's really, really small fine print, right? So like in most of GT7, I'm not noticing this. But
Mhm.
I started Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge again because it's the enhanced edition, and
The enhancements are
I heard
amazing
good things.
in
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Uh,
enjoyed that one a lot.
I'm not too far into it, but what I've seen, the visuals look good. But since in that game, unlike GT7, I'm moving around a lot more. The the fact that it moves slightly out of that sweet spot, like it bothers me more in that for sure. Not
Hmm.
enough to be like, this is crap. I'm not doing this, but like
No, but
basically everything
you
has a slight
realize it.
blur. Yeah.
Yeah, and you realize it, and you have to make adjustments often, unless you just nail the sweet spot each time. Yeah, it's. I think it's. I don't even know this if the sweet spot's like worse than the Quest 2 was as much, or it's just the fact that the Quest 3 sweet spot is so large that we're just used to it, just putting it on, and it's always like bang
Yeah.
on every
You
time.
just
So
always clear, yeah. I do find it to be pretty comfortable.
yeah.
I have not really ever been uncomfortable at it, and I've played for several hours in a row in GT7.
Hmm.
Um, so that was kind of surprising to me. Well,
Yeah,
not since I played it. Yeah,
the
PAX.
Halo strap's pretty solid, to be honest. I think the PSVR one was ever so slightly more comfortable for me, but it was still solid. I think it's just I what I really like about the hardware for that for PSVR two is the fact that you can extend the headset portion and bring it back into like as close as you want, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a nice little tweak that you can do with the design itself. It's really well built, isn't it? Like it feels like it's sturdy and well built. It's big though. It's a
Yeah, it
big boy.
is. It is pretty big, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't really notice the size when it's on.
No.
When did I hit? Maybe during like a synth rider session, I hit the front, but that's
Yeah.
in part because the controllers are pretty big.
Hmm. Controllers are
Um,
big. Everything's big about it. Everything's
yeah,
pretty big.
it's like built in Texas or something.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it's Japanese.
For all you
Um,
not in the States area, everything's bigger in Texas.
everything's in big in Texas. Do you anticipate that this will be your PC VR headset moving forward
Yeah,
once
I'm
it is?
excited to try that out though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't really read up on anything in regards to that news. I'm just kind of, I think it's a lot of rumors right now. So I'm just trying to
Mm,
wait and see what happens. But yeah, if eye tracking and such is
hmm
and oh man, the OLED screen for a big screen night, that's
mm.
ooh, chef's kiss.
I agree with you. I think it's a big difference when you have it in complete darkness because of the face shield that's on there of this like little rubber gasket covers your face perfectly. Like you do not see the outside world whatsoever. And then because it's an OLED, because the blacks
Mm-hmm.
are proper black, you're completely immersed. And have you started? Did you start Star Wars yet on
Yeah,
PlayStation
yeah,
VR?
yeah. I did
Yeah,
the first mission, I believe. Yeah.
like I found the when you're at the bar and the big guy comes towards you with all the eyes, it's so immersive and it felt like what Vader Immortal felt like when I first did the Quest 2. Like
Whoa.
it gave me that like vibes which I've not had for so long, because obviously Quest 2 was like my first VR headset for a long time, so I got like the new kind of feeling, and with the PSVR 2 that was it again, because you're so immersed and it felt like you're in that world, and it was so impressive.
Yeah,
So
and the
impressive.
colors pop a lot more. I do notice that it's definitely real bright.
Hmm. So you've been having a
um,
great time with PSVR 2. Did you play any other games? You obviously played
all right,
Tetris Effect.
so this is when I don't want to play custom songs. I really do like it for synth riders. It's
Mm.
quite beautiful. It's the colors pop, the haptics, the controllers, like that just feels so good in that game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's what I've been using a lot for synth riders, and the wire doesn't bother me for that because it's just behind you. You don't really, I don't play
Hmm.
360 or 180.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
And then, so yeah, I've talked about Star Wars Galaxy Edge, GT7, synth riders, Tetris Effect. I mentioned Pistol Whip. There's not really much more to say, as a game is very tiring, and I'm generally pretty lazy. But
Hmm.
it was cooler. It was cool. The wire sort of does affect me more on that though, because there's a lot more kind of squatting, a
Yeah.
lot more
Yeah.
squatting.
How do you have it? Are you facing the TV on your PlayStation, or are you facing away?
So
Because if
Dan,
you're away, obviously the cable's behind you, right?
I don't mean to blow your mind, but I actually have my PS5 connected to my computer monitor.
Oh, so
Everything's all in this one freaking room, dude.
oh, everything's in
So
that one room. That's a
I
hot room.
I play right here, and I face away from my monitor, but so
Okay,
the wire
so
is behind
the
me.
cable's
Yeah,
behind you,
yeah.
right? Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. The PS5 is, I guess, it's traditionally in the living room, but a lot of people, I guess, put it on their desk. That just could be like their like gaming PC.
It was
And
really just like this is where right now I have the most consist. If I want to play VR and I don't want to try to like you had roommates, right? And you don't want to play
yeah,
in the living room or whatever. I
yeah,
don't want to deal with that. So like if I want to play,
yeah.
I'm going to play in my room.
Yeah, totally correct, totally correct. Very well. Okay, before you continue, because I know you have a big
Yeah,
list. Let me get into a game that you
do it.
haven't played, so not in an overlap. So I've been playing a little bit of Soul Covenant, which came out very recently, either last week or the week before. I didn't know anything about this game. I just got so they reached out to me to try the game, and they gave me a code and such, and I was like, okay, yeah, great. I'll try it. I'll speak about it on the podcast. And so this is me going in with no idea what kind of game it is. Okay. And to me, without knowing, I still haven't even looked it up what kind of game this is. It feels like it's a graphic novel. That's what the game feels like.
Okay. So it's
So
a lot of watching,
a
listening,
lot of
reading.
watching, a lot of talking, a lot of reading as well. Actually, it's all voice acted, but we have subtitles on there. But a lot of that going on with
What's
very few battle scenes in between.
what's the art style?
There's not really too much of an art style to it. It's your typical like Unity kind of asset kind of art in terms of like there's no distinctive art style. I can't say this is like cel shaded. It just looks like it looks like a PS2 cartoony game in a way. You know, I'm not PS3 kind of thing. You know, it doesn't. I don't even know what art style that would be. You know, there's not a distinctive one, but it feels like a graphic novel to me. And essentially, what you do is you start the start of the game is actually really cool because you're in this like tank, shall we say? Think of like Master Chief in the first Halo, where you get awakened from your sleep or such like that, and you
Mm-hmm.
come out. It's a similar kind of thing like that. And I was like, okay, it graphically it looked decent and such. And then you get into some training. I'm like, okay, fine. You get into some training. You're in this like arena, and it's teaching you all the ways. It takes a long time. I'm not gonna lie. The weapon that you have is like it's something completely in the fantasy land, but it is really cool. So the weapon is a sword, but it's not a conventional sword. It's a sword that's made out of the bones of the person who's teaching you. Yeah, that's what they say. They say, "Oh, do you like the weapon? The weapon's made out of my remains. How does my remains feel in your hand?" I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, okay." So it's like the spine of the character with the rib cage, which is attached to a blade on the sword device. But then, so you can use it as a sword with one hand, and you press the grip button, and it magically appears. But then, if you use your second hand on the sword and press the grip button, then it flings out and it looks like a dagger, like a really long dagger and such. So you got like two weapons in one. And I would generally look on YouTube and just see the weapon. The weapon is really cool for a sword, and the art's really nice for that. But everything else of the game it's fairly boring. I'm not
Dan,
gonna lie.
do you
Yeah,
know how much this game costs?
I don't know.
It's $39.99 USD on the Meta Store and $49.99 on the Steam Store.
Okay.
Does that?
What genre is it? Can you tell me what genre
Yo,
is
I
it
can
whilst
tell
you're
you.
looking?
So I'm going to read you the Soul
Tell me
Covenant
the facts.
Steam thing. The
Go on.
moving experience of a life. Sorry, it's been a while. The moving experience of a story of life told through death. A VR tactical action game experience with a high level of immersion where the player will be one with the protagonist and take on a battle for the fate of the world. All right, so a VR tactical action game experience. Is that
Okay, maybe it gets like that after the first hour. I couldn't get past the first hour because
Did you
I was
fight
getting.
anything?
I did fight stuff. Yes.
So one of the reviews on Steam, granted with 0.2 hours on record, says wiggle sword combat in 2024. Really, third verse. So did you
It
feel that
is
you could
that.
just
It
kind
is
of
that. Yeah, you could just wiggle your sword, and that's all you need to do with combat. Really, like the combat's very. The enemies come at you, and you just like wiggle, 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 and they're gone. And there's not like it's not
wiggle,
like
wiggle, wiggle,
Assassin's
wiggle,
Creed
wiggle,
where
yeah.
Assassin's Creed didn't have the most exciting combat either, but Assassin's Creed at least that had like you had to block and parry and then strike and such. But this one you just wiggle, 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 and it's done,
Wiggle,
and
yeah.
the battle's finished. There's not much excitement when it comes to the battle.
But it looks good.
It does look pretty solid. Yeah, it does look pretty solid. So what I went into is basically, yeah, there's a giant brain in the middle, and you're kind of playing out your memories and all the deaths that you've had. Apparently, you've had more than one or such, and you're trying to like relive those memories in the battles. So um, the phases happen in three parts. You have a story section which you can skip. Then you have the battle section, which can take a couple minutes to longer, depending on which one it is. And then you have another story segment that you can skip. And then you go to segment 2. And then it's story, battle, story. Segment 3, story, battle, story, etc., etc. And in that story, you just stood there watching kind of it unfold
I'd
in
take
front
a
of you.
seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Are
And
the
the
battles, are they in an
battles are
arena
boring.
or what?
They're just in an arena. Yeah, they're in basically an arena. It's an outdoor arena, but it's like one of those places that are just like sectioned off area. It's like your classic like Gears of War, in what sections until you defeat all the enemies. But you don't really move on to another arena in that section of your memory. You'll just keep going. You have four battle sections in one memory, and each one of those battle sections are in the same place. Okay, I don't know, maybe in the next section I didn't get that far. Maybe you're in a different kind of arena, it's a different setting and such, most likely. But yeah, I would avoid this one. They gave me a code and I feel bad for bashing it, but it might be fun for some, but I didn't really like it at all. And especially at that price point that you said, that's way too expensive. You can definitely see that there's a lot of effort that's gone into the game in terms of the dialogue, because it's all spoken, it's all voice, and there's full
Yeah, the
story.
voice
And
acting is in a lot of these positive
the voice acting is solid.
reviews.
And then like when you kill the enemy, there's these little shards that you can collect, and when you collect these shards, your left arm becomes really powerful, and you can trigger this like light gun blaster thing from your left arm as well, which is really cool. But it's just that the actual fighting the enemies is so boring and lackluster that it doesn't give you any satisfaction when you use it. So
Makes sense.
yeah, it's the combat felt very repetitive, and like I said, it felt like a graphic novel. Now that's only after about an hour of playing, and that's the only much I can't stomach anymore. There might be more to this game than there is, and I would highly recommend looking at I think Upload VR put a review out, and there's probably various YouTubers who have. I've not looked at them yet, but definitely check them out for like more of a proper review. But this is just a first impressions, and yeah, I would stay away from this one. But,
I
yeah.
will say the developer responded to. So I went to a 3-star review on the MetaQuest store. There's about 225 reviews right now as of recording, and 94% of them are 5 stars, and then there's 2 to 1%. So I went to a 3 stars, and it seems like this person sort of had a few of the same feelings as you. It looks really great. Unfortunately, that's it, because the game only consists of uninspiring arenas, and in combat, it's enough to just hit like crazy. No strategy, no special features, no variations, and it should be about a quarter of the price.
The fact that it's
and
tactical, like you mentioned in the genre, is really bizarre. It doesn't feel any tactical whatsoever. So
Yeah, that seems peculiar. But then I want to read the developer's response here. They said, "Thank you for your feedback. The team put a lot of emphasis on the story and the quote emotional journey aspect, with a special attention to the music and character development. The game did not really speak to you, and we are sorry to hear that. I'll share your comment with our staff." So
that
yeah,
might be the
it seems
fact.
like
It
it
might
seems
just
like
not
it
speak
didn't
to
speak
me.
to you. Yeah.
No, it might just be that. And maybe some people would love the story and such and be like, yeah, I love that I get to kind of watch the story unfold and play out the battle combat areas as well. You know, this is not what I was looking for. When I went into it, I expected a bit more of an actual, more VRing involved, if that makes any sense. And this didn't hit. But yeah, anyway, that's Soul of Covenant. Definitely look at other reviews, but not for me. Not for me.
Yes. No further review likely.
Samson, what else you got? What else you got?
Yes. Yes. So the all right. Also, I hopped into No Man's Sky again. I just keep doing the same first mission over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
The game looks beautiful, but
What,
as
like the
many,
opening? You like the opening mission?
yeah, but as many people know, I mean, there's absolutely no way I finish this game. It's really just not a game for me. I love how it looks. I love shooting the thing
It's
and collecting the
beautiful.
things and like doing
Mm-hmm.
this, but like, no, ultimately, I'm just not going to keep like getting sucked back into this.
Yeah,
Um,
beautiful game
yeah.
on PlayStation VR 2 though. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lovely
that's what I'm
game.
saying. It looks great. It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last PlayStation VR game I got into was Walkabout. So here's how I feel about Walkabout on the PlayStation VR 2. The haptics feel quite nice, and it feels more like a club. But the club, it's harder to hold the PlayStation VR 2 controller. So I
Mm-hmm.
did get used to it though, but it did take getting used to.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice the blur you've mentioned previously, from the OLED or whatever,
Yeah.
and the fucking wire, dude. That's a game where the wire was just like, I did one game, I'm getting tangled up in this thing.
Yeah.
So now but it is nice that I now have a walkabout option to play 2-player when somebody's at the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll suck it up. I'll play that one. But yeah, Quest 3 still go to for Walkabout,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's also with Walkabout. The visuals on PlayStation are good, but it's not so amazing that you need to play it on this, right? The visuals in Quest 3 are really good, and we'll talk about the new course in a moment later on. But yeah, the visuals are good enough on the Quest that, yeah, if you've got both, having freedom to move around and such is going to be way better for you.
Yeah. I don't even. Yeah, I don't move that much, but I do. I do spin, like I do
You do
turn.
spin
Yeah,
though,
because
right?
it's
Yeah.
like I don't need to. I'm not used to having to use the joystick to
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah. Right. Roger that.
And so yeah, so going forward, I'm probably gonna keep doing my GT7. That's sort of become my new Grid Legends piece. Grid
Yeah.
Legends. I'm hoping to keep on my Star Wars grind for a little bit. It might turn into an Assassin's Creed situation.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners know me. Uh, and then yeah, I'll use it here and there for Synth Riders. And then I have a few games in my backlog already.
Yeah.
Because there was a recent sale, so I was just picking up ones that I knew I was going to want, which were Crossfire Sierra Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the haptics are incredible in the PlayStation version. Uh, Synapse, the eye tracking, and that whole game. I'm gonna have to. You might pronounce it Synapse. I don't know.
Synapse, Synapse. I think I pronounced it Synapse myself when I saw it. I actually didn't play that game, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about that one. A
And damn
roguelike,
it,
right?
uh, I just had to do it because they're on pretty steep sale here. But I got the Resident Evils. I actually went to hop in Resident Evil 4 to like talk about it a little bit on this pod, but then I went to hop in and it was like, nah, you can't do that. And then I remembered on PSVR without parole, I'm like saying something about you having to download something. So
Yeah.
then I had to download the VR, like, it's like not DLC, but you just had to download the some freaking file or whatever.
I would say, having played both Resident Evil 7 and 8 in VR, um, eight, so it's the Resident Evil 8 is fun, but it's very more action orientated. So there's going to be a lot of things going at you and such and whatnot. It's not as scary as Resident Evil 7, but obviously being in VR, it's going to be scarier than
Yeah.
normal. Um, Resident Evil 7, however, even though you have to play with the controller rather than the sense controllers, the touch controllers or whatever, that opening, I would highly recommend you play that opening because without spoiling anything, it's not scary. And it's not scary up until you have a video flashback, and you know what I'm talking about once you play it. But it's not scary, but you get captured at the start, okay, and this is not spoiling anything, but you get captured at the start, and then you wake up on the dinner table, and it is worth being on the dinner table in VR for that whole moment. Like I said, it's not scary at all. It's just very immersive, and it is pretty cool sitting at the dinner table with a bunch of freaks, shall we say.
All right.
um, I finished that game in VR, the Resident Evil 7, because
Really?
yeah, it's funny because it's a game that initially might feel a bit scary, but you get numb to the scariness very quickly. It ends up just being the same as playing it um, without VR, just with a bit more immersion. So I actually enjoyed it. I actually was playing it in VR. So I finished the whole game in VR in the end, and it
I'm
was very much
impressed.
fun. 8, I couldn't finish it. It was just it's too actiony for me. But
Yeah, and then and I got D-Day Enhanced, which is the big multiplayer shooter.
mhm,
Got that support. My buddy Elvert told me it was pretty good.
very good.
Yeah,
All right.
let's go into my Oculus gaming, I guess now, and let's start with Sea Smash because you played that one. So,
Yeah, let's do Sea Smash.
I'll segue from me to you. I did not
Mhm,
play a lot of Sea Smash. I think I was in there about 20 to 25 minutes or so. And at first, I played outside. And for those of you that don't know, and for those of you that do know now, Sea Smash is a racket game, kind of like Brick Breaker, except
mhm,
in a 3D space. And so you have a ball that you got to smack, and you got to break these blue bars, and sometimes you can't go in certain spaces.
mhm.
Uh, and you move with the joystick back and forth. And while I'm doing this, I'm like, yo, this is where I play Racket Club. Like, I
Yeah.
want to try this without the joystick. So then I move, but there's no mixed reality, obviously. Or I guess
Mhm,
that's not might not be obvious, but there is none, and there's no real like boundary on the ground either, right? Like
mhm.
in some games, you can sort of see where they'll have like an in-game thing that shows your boundary. So I go to my driveway where I have a lot of lateral space and I know
Mhm.
I'm not going to run into something. Dude, I can't I couldn't adjust my brain to go full speed even though
Yeah.
I know nothing's there. So I'm
Yeah.
still like moving like 3 steps and then using the joystick. I'm
Mhm.
just like I made it even worse for myself. I have heard that there's some sort of option, so I got to look into the options. I have heard there's like things I can probably mess around with.
There's a lot of options in there. I turned off the tunneling immediately, the blinkers, because when you
Yeah,
move
yeah,
the
yeah, me too.
joystick, you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
into blink. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But hitting the ball feels good. It goes where I want it to go. Generally, it like that action felt good. I was just
Hmm.
like struggling with feeling comfortable, and I mean, I gotta play more before I,
Sure.
you know, gut reaction. I feel like I'd rather play racket club or 11 table tennis if I want to play a racket sport. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna give this one more goes and mess with those settings, and I want to give this a go in multiplayer.
Yeah. So I only played the 15-minute trial, so I played 15 minutes exactly of it. But I got quite a lot in. I ended up going to orange tiles and blue balls and such like that. Blue balls.
Blue balls. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, just for some background on this game. This was originally a Dreamcast game. It was called Cosmic Smash, and it came out in 2001, but it was in Japan only. So a lot of people haven't played it because it was in Japan only. A lot of people haven't played it because it was on the Dreamcast, and not many people had the Dreamcast. But yeah, like you said, it's a brick breaker game. It's set in space. You kind of have to map out your levels on how you want to traverse the level, which is really interesting. But I agree with you. Like with using the stick to kind of move took a bit to getting used to, but then you do get used to it. There is a crouch button as well, but which I never really used.
I wanted a jump button before I wanted the crouch.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes the ball flies off and all that. It's fun. It is fun. You hold the trigger button, you get more of a power racket, and then you can really smack the ball. The ball curves around and all sorts. And it does get really challenging with, like the blockers in there as well. There's some cool, like if you hit a certain block, then all of a sudden there's like 20 different balls that appear and they can help you, get better times. And this is definitely like a leaderboard type of game.
Did you do the Zen mode or the challenge mode?
I did the Zen mode. Zen mode. I think the challenge mode had a fail, right? At the Zen mode, basically it was no fail and such. The standout for me is that the visuals are nice. It's very subtle, but like being in space with the characters and the whites and the orange and the blacks, it's just looked really nice. But the music I thought was fantastic. It gave me very much like a Ridge Racer vibes. If everyone played that back in the day on the PlayStation,
Ridge Racer.
Yeah, that's the one. Like, give me like that kind of Japanese PlayStation kind of feel of soundtrack. I was actually looking earlier on Apple Music to see if I could grab it, but there's not on there. So maybe they have it online or something that you can download. But the soundtrack was wicked. And that's what kind of would make me come back to this game, to be honest. But overall, the game is like basic. Like there's many different modes to it, but in the end of the day, it's just a brick breaker game.
The physics are good though, definitely.
Yeah, so like if you're into that, then definitely give this one a shout. But that is the game in the end of the day. So it might be a bit too simplistic. Maybe you have some nostalgia. Maybe you have played it before, and maybe you do love these kind of brick breaker games and want to just dive in and have like a more relaxing kind of experience. To be honest. Yeah, like you said, I'm curious what the multiplayer would be like. If it's just both of you hitting the same bricks, or is it just like against each other? I know time trials.
I think there's a few. I think there's a few different multiplayer sort of ways to play. Yeah, but I do have this also on the PlayStation. But in my head, I was like, "Oh, it's a racket sport. Like I'm gonna want to be able to. I want to move."
Yeah.
So I was playing on my Quest 3, but now that I feel like if I get used to the joystick movement, it might just be better on the.
You'll probably be fine. Yeah, you're not gonna twist. That's the main thing, right? Yeah. You're just gonna stay. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure if I'd recommend it. It is like a nice game. Like I said, there's a 15-minute trial. Highly recommend that.
Yeah, do that if you want to give it a try for certain. In my view, all the racket sport VR games, I feel like have their pros and cons to them. Yeah. And in my quick session of this one, I think it has some pros and it also has some cons.
And also that 15-minute trial, it sounds really short, but 15 minutes felt like a long time playing this game. I did get through a world and a half, or at least I'd call it a world and a half. You'll understand what I mean if you're in there. So definitely try the 15-minute trial at least. It is a fun game just to play around and then maybe add it to a wish list for sale item probably. It's probably more ideal for this.
It's made by the developer did The Last Worker.
Yeah, I got you. Samson, I wanna pivot to probably my favorite game that I've played this week in terms of an experience. And it's not Walkabout, although that was amazing, and we'll talk about that towards the end of this part. I jumped into this today. I jumped into Astra.
Dan, I bought Astra too, but I didn't hop in it yet, but I did buy it. Don't spoil it for me.
No, I won't spoil it. Astra is like one of those experience first kind of games on Quest. Is done by the stories directed by the same woman who did Spheres as well. If you remember Spheres on the Quest, I wasn't a massive fan of Spheres. It was okay, but this is pretty cool. So
It's
without
like 45
spoiling,
minutes, right?
yeah,
I
45
think,
minutes long.
was it
It,
Shoes? Shoes must have posted this on our Discord, I think. Somebody did. Somebody posted it. Anyway, go on.
maybe. So I downloaded it today, and I went into you want a big space. So I went into the living room, and you don't need like space to move around. So there can be some furniture around, but like the effect is cool when it's a big space. So I went into my living room, which is
Do you start in MR?
yes.
Okay.
So it's my living room's like I don't know 5-6 meters by 2 or 3 meters or such. Okay, so like it's fairly long rather than a box. But anyway, you choose one of the walls. By the way, the mixed reality to capture exactly what walls I have immediately worked, and it was wicked. It was the first time I've kind of like really seen it where I'm not mapping
It's
out
amazing.
anything or it's just I put it on and it just knew all the walls and everything. And it's like, okay, pick your feature wall that you have the least obstruction with. So I was like, okay, so I picked the wall that I didn't have really any obstruction. And that is your VR wall. Okay, so that turns into VR. So your spaceship starts to form. So that's your front view of your spaceship. And then on the sides of your
What about the
walls,
ceiling?
your ceiling is completely space.
Okay,
It's
so
like
that's
the
also
top of the
VR. Okay.
your ceiling and your feature wall is completely VR, and then on your left and right walls are just like windows from the spaceship. And that's pretty
I
much
see.
it,
So it
right?
makes your living room or whatever a spaceship.
Yeah, essentially.
Gotcha.
And it is really freaking cool because you go in there and then there's like it's a hand tracking game. They advise you to put the controllers down. And there's like a panel in front of the spaceship, and you have the galaxy, and you choose where to go. It's kind of scripted because it's like you have all the planets there, but it tells you to go to Jupiter first, and then later it tells you to go to Saturn or one of the moons and such like that. But you go to Jupiter, so you click Jupiter, and then it does the full spaceship kind of feeling where you'll see like a loading bar, and it says picking coordinates, and then the ship starts to turn in the right way. Then it starts to travel a little bit, and then it says acceleration, and then all of a sudden you go into like a light speed, like Star Wars
Did you
kind
go
of feel.
plaid?
Pretty much, pretty much. And then
Dan, you're giving
that
a lot of
happens.
details here, though. I'm not gonna lie.
There's no. This is a very much of a story game, so there's no like spoilers or anything into this. I'm not saying any spoilers or what it is, but it feels cool. Your living room actually feels like it's moving, and it's a really cool experience. So you need to definitely try it. This is I think it's $8.99 or $10
It
or
was $10
something.
here, yeah.
$10 US, yeah. Very much worth it
I'm
just for
just
that
I'm
experience.
a really big sucker for the space and the stars type of stuff, especially in mixed reality. There was some free thing, I forget. I talked about it when I first got my Quest 3, I think,
Mm,
where it showed you the constellations that were above you and whatnot.
yeah,
So yeah, I saw what this was. I was like, I'm
you're
gonna
gonna love
get
it.
this. But it's like 45 minutes long or so, right? So I just haven't had the
Thing is,
time to
it's a
dedicate to it.
45-minute game. I didn't play it for the full 45 minutes. I haven't finished
Oh, so
it
you
just
can
yet.
do it
I'm
in
close.
segments. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm close, but it's a game that you really want to put other people into VR with, because it's very short in a way, but just to have the mixed reality feeling, it's pretty cool. And so when you get to a planet or moon or whatnot, okay. The coolest thing about it is that you can teleport into the planet. So on your spaceship, it's like a Star Trek kind of feel. There's a
Zoom.
teleporting area, so you walk into your room to that teleporting part. It all goes white, and then you're on the planet and
Oh, so
such.
like beam me up, Scotty. Yeah.
Exactly. And then what you have to do on the planet, you can't really move past that. You just got to like collect elements from the planet. It gives you a bit of a story and such. And I won't tell you exactly what the reasoning for or anything like that. And then once you've done what you need to do, you beam back up into the spaceship. You analyze what you got, and then you move on to the next planet and etc. like that.
Nice.
That's the basis of the game. It's a spaceship in your house. I do wish that there was a bit more to it, to be honest, because the mixed reality stuff and whatnot is really fun. and I do wish there was a bit more to it, but it's $10. It's more of an experience with a story, and maybe there's a Star Wars game on the horizon that makes use to this mixed reality a bit more and such, or Red Matter or anything like that, or an Alien, which
Happy
we'll
Star
talk about
Wars
in the
Day,
news.
if you're
Happy
listening
Star,
to us
yeah.
on the
There's
4th.
massive Star Wars sale as well. So if you've never picked up Vader Immortal or Pinball or the Tales from the Galaxies, now's your chance.
Oh, I will say the
discounted.
pinball is actually a decent deal too, because I was talking to the Gill man about this, and he was interested in the other F2 or pinball game, but it only comes with 3 tables, whereas the Star Wars game comes with 10 tables for the price of the 5. Wait. So 10 tables for the price of the 5 table DLC on FX2. Anyway, you get more bang for your buck with the Star Wars pinball. So if you're not only getting it for, the Back to the Future table or those tables that you want, and you're just here to play some pinball, it's probably a good option.
Star Wars is probably better bang for buck, yeah. But this is really cool. I feel like this game, or experience rather, is more of like a science lesson kind of thing. If anything, it feels like an experience from Interstellar or something like that, to be honest. But yeah, highly recommend it. It's very much fun, and I would give it probably 3 stars out of 5, just because I feel like it could do more. But just for the experience, for $10, it's well worth it. So highly recommend to pick it up, and if you haven't already,
I'll have to give that a go this week.
Excellent, Samson. What else are you playing before we get into Walkabout?
So, I've been continuing to get into my Breachers games, and Breachers was not one I'd got on PSVR because I felt like honestly, in Star Wars, I noticed actually my gun, the tracking will kind of suck sometimes on the 2-handed gun. Like sometimes my hand will just start floating, and I'm like, ah!
The only thing I didn't like, and I've said this many times, is just the grip button. I noticed it the most in Star Wars when you had to grip the gun.
Oh, I did toggle the grip in that game right away. Yeah.
I had to change it to toggle the grip, and the grip button on Quest 3 is so good. It's definitely taken for granted, shall we say. But
I won't say that the grip button annoys me to that same degree quite yet, but I haven't really put it to work. Most of my PSVR 2 has been in GT7 with the DualSense. So
yeah, that's fair.
I got into Harbor Town, which is one of the Golf Plus courses. I believe there's another one too that I got to get in. I played with a buddy I grew up with. I hit a 40 foot putt, Dan. I hit a 40 foot putt. It's crazy.
Nice. That is crazy.
It was pretty straight, and there was no real,
It's still crazy though. The putting is hard on that game.
It's facts. So pretty good. Just as good as always. The game is so fun, but it's hard for me to really get back into the consistency of before. But I text my buddy who I know I can play with. If he's got the day off, then we'll give it a go.
Do you play with a club, or do you play just with the controller?
No, just with the controller.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I end up playing with just the controller too when I haven't played it for a while, but just because when I play with the club, even though it's not that longer, I always get scared that it's going to hit something. Yeah. My ceilings are high, it's just a wall. Yeah, that's fair.
Like having to put my controller into something else and take it out of the grip that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
I got into so Beat Saber had a new DLC, a little hippity hop, little hip hop. They got some F-bombs in there and such, and some other naughty words. And I played a couple of songs. I own them all. The Pop Smoke one was pretty cool. I did not ever think I'd be playing a Pop Smoke song in Beat Saber, so it's pretty unique. If you're into those songs, I think you might like it. And then I went back to Daft Punk as well, because it's
classic.
It's Daft Punk. It's great.
It's classic.
Dan, I don't know if you've heard. There's a new Battle Royale out.
Oh, is it Contractors?
It is. It is the Showdown. And I had played the beta on Steam, which I think I might go back to, because this past weekend I played on my Quest 3,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 out of my 5 games were bugged. In that one game, near the end of it too, I got like booted for like my game just crashed. In another
Mm-hmm.
game, I got stuck in a window for the entire
Mm-hmm.
match. Luckily, the window I was stuck in, it was inside the zone, so I did last a long time, but it wasn't inside the zone because then it shrunk even more.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's got a big player base. It's pretty cool. I do kind of enjoy it. It's generally not my type. Like, it's a bit too milsimmy. There's a lot to progress, a lot to unlock. There's a lot
Mm.
on your chest going on. But there's some games that I enjoy being bad at, or it's not like I get off on being bad, but I don't mind being bad. I'm still having fun in the game, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how I feel about this one right now. It's reasonably cheap. It's like $20, 15 if you get it on a referral code,
Mm-hmm.
and I just yeah, if you just want to, you just need 1 to 3 buddies. You can play solo or hop in with a squad of 3, and the maps are like 65 people or something like that. So
Nice. I saw Techman's he had like a I guess he had like a bit of an ad for contractors, but also with the Pro Tube. The Pro Tube's so expensive. I think it's almost $1,000 of
that's the
what
one that
prototype really.
vibrates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had the full like assault rifle, but also he had the pistol one. So he had it all connected. So he'd have the assault rifle, but then because it's magnetic, you can
yeah,
take it
dislocated.
off really easily and use it for the pistol. So he gets all the force feedback, and that looked really cool. I was like, that looks pretty cool, but that whole setup costs I think it's 1,000 US on the nose actually
Probably.
for that whole thing. Depends on the haptic version you get, but it's so expensive. But I got the Pro Tube. I've got the not the haptic version though. I've just got like just the
The
gun
tube.
stock, just the tube, just the gun stock. But yeah, no, that does look really pretty cool. I never got a chance to jump in the beta. I honestly totally forgot, but I didn't realize how cheap it is, quote unquote. So I might look at picking this one up. It's got the talk of the town at the moment. People are loving this game.
Yeah, yeah. It gives me the same vibe of why I want to hop in Zenith when that came out. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, I want to get in this VR MMO before it becomes what it is now.
Yeah.
And I feel that way with Showdown. I'm like, yo, I got to get in this when it's got this player base
Mm-hmm.
and it's popping. So
Nice, nice. Should we talk
oh
about Walkabout?
yeah, I full disclosure, I haven't played the hard course yet. I got my media one pretty late, and then I
Yeah,
just been real busy. But I did play through the easy course in a kind of rush sense. It looks beautiful. It
that's
sounds
fair.
beautiful. I didn't have the music on per usual, but there's a lot of sound effects in this one. You hear like chatter. The
Yeah,
sound effects are pretty cool.
the sound and the
What
music's pretty cool too. Just want to throw it out there.
I
Turn
don't
that
know.
music up. It's very relaxing. I always Walkabout Mini Golf Venice is the newest course. I'm sure all of you have played it by now. And I think it's one of the most prettiest courses I've been in. Like the city feels beautiful, and especially when you press the A button and you see like the city of Venice. It feels like I'm in Assassin's Creed. It feels
That's
like
what
I'm
I was
playing.
gonna say. It's exactly what it felt like. Ah!
Yeah, it felt like I thought I was just doing like the ego vision of Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed, and I could see all the houses, and I was like, "This is pretty. This is kind of like an Assassin's Creed crossover now." Um, but yeah, I personally, without like going through every single course again, which I'm sure we'll do at the end of this year, we'll do our 2024 course review. But this is probably the most prettiest course I've seen in terms of how it looks. And
There's
I
a
just want
lot
to
in
point
it.
out, I was playing with my uncle the other day, and he actually mentioned it to me that the download was 5 gigabytes for this DLC, which is absolutely massive.
Somebody else
Um,
pointed it. Aren't they all 5 gigabytes? I thought they're all.
there might be, but I've never heard the storage before. I was like 5 gig sounds pretty big, but it does. There's a lot of elements in this one. The course itself. I mean, this is not really spoiling it, Samson. When you play the hard mode, it's just in night, and the holes are harder. So it's not like, a drastic difference or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, Venice at night as well. And some of the holes are pretty hard, but overall,
And
like a very
what
fair
lights it up?
course. What, like just the street lights and such
Okay.
and whatnot? Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know
just
how like in gosh, what's the one with the lights that float and they're all floating around the night course?
the aquarium one, the Atlantis one.
No. It's
No.
it's sort of like
Oh, the lantern one,
Japanese,
the
aesthetic.
Shangri-La.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
That one, Shangri-La is like one of the best. Another one of the most prettiest like night mode courses for sure. That and Atlantis, but in an overall sense, like there's one of the most prettiest courses I've ever played, and it's a very fair course. There's no real annoying holes that I've seen actually. Playing both, I wasn't the best at. I only played through it once on the weekend. I haven't actually picked it up, even though I had it earlier as well. But going through both courses, I didn't get the best scores or anything like that, but they were all in the plus aspect, the over pars. But it felt very fair. It felt like, okay, now I got where to hit and such like that. If I play it again, I'll probably get better than that. I found that the balls were hard to find in this one. From what I'm not the best.
Like 3.
Yeah, my favorite ball. I won't tell you where it is, just in case you haven't got it. Is the cappuccino ball.
Damn, is there a meatball ball, you think? Because there needs to be a meatball ball.
There must be a meatball ball, but I don't know. I haven't
Say
found
meatball
that one
ball
if I
5
have.
times fast.
Meatball ball, meatball ball. The cappuccino ball. The cappuccino ball is my favorite one, just because it looks like the top of a cappuccino, and it's pretty nice. As well as the fox hunt. The fox hunt I thought was very easy. The fox hunt, basically pretty much all of them, actually, all the clues are like images, and you kind of got to find where these paintings were done and such. The fox hunt I felt was fairly straightforward. The putter is decent, to be honest. It's not. I wouldn't say it's the best putter.
Some of my friends told me that they knocked it out of the park with the balls. Like, it's definitely far and away the best balls.
Fair enough.
Of any of the courses, but I've only found 3 of them so far. So
there is some fun Easter eggs. There was one that I want to point out, which is you got to just check out on the 17th or 18th.
Oh.
No, in the 17th or 18th hole, or both. There's a pizza shop, and if you go in easy mode, you can see that there's a pizza cooking in the oven. And then on hard mode, the pizza's still there and it's all burnt, which is kind of fun. But yeah, it's really cool. You've got like a gelato place. Everything feels. It feels so. It's kind of like. It's like the Around the World in 80 Days, how it captured that feeling of Paris being on the Eiffel Tower and such. But then imagine this and putting it into a city, and yeah, I think they've crushed it with this one. They've got some really good courses that have come out this year. It's only April, and I think there's been 3 courses total, as far as I'm aware. Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds right.
I think so. But yeah, this is an absolute standout. I'm not going to lie. I really like this course, and obviously they got like the Wallace and Gromit one coming soon.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's going to come at some. I think that'll probably come out in the end of the year.
Kind of like that game.
Oh, the Wallace and Gromit one.
I didn't hear very good things, but I still feel like I should when
it's not that good, but it's not that good, but it's an experience. It's an experience, but yeah, I would I know you're going to play it more as you go on, but fantastic course.
I mean, one of these will certainly be in season 3 of our Walkabout tournament for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I guess that's everything that we've been playing. That's an hour right there.
We did it.
Of content. That's what happens when you don't really talk about what we've been playing for. Although sometimes our part 1s end up being an hour anyway, to be honest. But
45.
But yeah, the other thing that I was going to say is that I did almost start Assassin's Creed again, or when I
Oh
say
boy.
start, jump back in. But because of the sake of the podcast, I was like, you know what, I should play some of the newer titles that I've got downloaded just to talk about them, rather than just playing more Assassin's Creed. So I'm in the mood though. I think maybe the Walkabout Venice has got me back in the mood. So I'm gonna try and hop in this week, and we'll go from there. But before we round off part one, Samson, you have a few things to
Yeah,
get through here.
we've got some what do you call this? Housekeeping.
Mhm.
Housekeeping. So Dan, we've got a LTO Grocket night coming up on May 8th. It's a Wednesday at 9:15 Eastern Time PM. Live open mic, and I will be either both hosting a room or joining the same session, depending on how many people we got. So come on down if you want to play some Grocket. They have a nice new spring update. I know nothing more about that spring update right now, but I'll know everything next week after I play, and you could know too if you join us.
Yeah, very well. And then speaking of games and playing with the community, the Walkabout Season 2 obviously finished up back at the beginning of April, but we couldn't announce stuff. But you've obviously gone through the Discord and you've posted big scores. Any highlights that you wanted to point out for everyone listening?
So yeah, I believe I've Matt probably won the easy and the hard in the final week, but I've filled everybody in on that on Discord. Let me give a few big highlights of the whole entire season 2 that wrapped up. So in the entire tournament, Dan, there were 139 hole-in-ones, 1,332 birdies, and 947 pars. And that's in all 10 courses, 5 weeks, easy and hard.
That's some fun Excel stats right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Spreadsheet stats.
There you go. And now I will talk about, so over the course of the 5 weeks, Matt 916 had minus 130 on easy, and next up Destiny 11 had minus 116, Parody for Life had minus 110, and Guido had minus 106. And I was going to list everybody 100 above 100, but this is just too close. So Rocket Horse Brat had minus 99, all in the easy courses. Those are some incredible stats.
Insane.
Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
And then on hard, Matt almost got to minus 100 on hard, and I think that will be his goal in season 3. In minus 95 on the hard courses, Parody for Life. So that's a big gap, right? So Parody for Life had minus 70, Destiny 11 minus 63, Rocket Horse Brat minus 57, and then there's a pretty big jump to Spry Guy at minus 29. But those top two, Parody for Life and Matt, are 25 apart. Whereas on easy, there's only a 14-point difference between the top two.
Yeah, that's incredible. The SCAD score is ridiculous, to be honest.
It's just crazy. And then I just want to point out that Brandon VR had 69 on hard, which is just nice.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What we'll do as well, I will do a bit of a draw for everybody who got involved on the list that we have, and someone will win an LTO visor. I've designed a golfing visor, LTO visor. I've been trying to perfect it for weeks now.
I want one.
I'll send you one. Yeah, I'll get
oh,
one
right, because it's golf. That goes with golf.
That makes sense.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
We need LTO tees.
One day I can, like maybe print off a bunch of LTO golf balls or tees to give out and
I feel like
such.
tees must be cheap. Don't golf people go through them? I don't
Yeah,
know.
there must be like a printing shop. I think I just have to make like 1,000 tees or something like that. That's the only problem with it. Where like with the visor, I could just do one
Yeah.
on one per person and such. But the first season we had Destiny who like won our overall that we did, and I got him a T-shirt just for that season one. But moving forward, we'll do more participation prizes. So yeah, I'll send out a visor to someone random, which we'll just put in a random giveaway, and I'll announce it on Discord.
Speaking of, I did give so Quest Cash has become a thing now, Dan. So I already did my giveaway for the game. The Gillman won, and I sent him $20 in Quest Cash because it just seems like the thing to do. And he bought Gun Club VR and Hauntify with it.
Quantify.
So
Okay.
there you have it. And so let me go into season 3 now, if we will.
Let's do it.
So the courses for season 3 of the LTO Walkabout tournament will be easy El Dorado and hard Alfheim. Um, and
Alfheim hard is hard. It's a lot of
yeah,
curves.
it's just like it's where it flips it, right?
Yeah.
That. So everyone, let me give the giveaway parameters, if you will. So if you play in 3 out of the 5 weeks this time, you'll automatically be entered into a giveaway. And as I previously mentioned, they have Quest Cash now. And we all know I love participation, and I love more winners. And so now, instead of giving away one game for $20, I can give away 2 gifts for $10. And so everybody who plays in 3 out of the 5 weeks, there'll be 2 giveaways of $10 each. So come on down, play some Walkabout, and
I guess
yeah.
we'll keep sending a visor too. We'll do one visor winner for just participation as well. So we'll send one visor per season as well. So we'll pick someone random at the end, which hopefully will get their visor quicker than anyone else has because it's already been made now. So all I need to do is
just buy a big that's where you buy 15 of them, then you'd be golden for the next year or two.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that will do for a massive part 1. But Samson, you haven't been here for a while, so there's also a lot of news to talk about too. So we'll see everyone in another big part 2 coming up soon. So we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2, the VR news. So we'll have like 4 news stories, but one's more of a big news stories, which I've kind of broken up into 3 parts. So let's get into the first one here. And some of you may already know this because it was announced a couple of weeks ago, but it looks like Meta is now rebranded their Quest software to Horizon OS. But that's not really the biggest news here. It's what they're going to do with it. So it's going to be a bit more open platform. And I say open platform in asterisks because the people who can use it, so the companies that can use it, is all like selected third-party headset makers. So it's not like, like, I don't know, like Linux or anything like that, or Android that anyone can just use it. It's open software. It's not exactly open, although that's the term Zuckerberg says.
It kind of feels like a computer that comes with Windows, right? Like many companies can build computers, and Windows will run on those.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like the Windows model. But with that, they've kind of semi-announced new headsets. So we got Asus, who are creating a performance gaming headset, which will be using the
Do
Quest
we know the
software.
types that they're making?
Yeah, that's what they've said. That's
Oh,
what they've
wow.
said. So we've got Asus is creating a performance gaming headset underneath the Rogue branding, just like the Rogue Ally, their like Steam Deck competitor. Um, you've got Lenovo, who is creating a productivity, learning, and entertainment headset. So they're the two. There's also an Xbox one, which we'll talk about in a moment. But what Meta, what they said, or what Zuckerberg said, he said he can imagine third-party Meta Horizon OS headsets optimized around specific users, such as a lightweight headset that pairs with your computer on your desk to provide the best work experience, a headset that fully focused on immersive entertainment like watching movies and videos with the highest resolution OLED screens, a headset fully optimized for gaming, supports all kinds of different peripherals and haptics, a headset that's designed for exercise that is extra lightweight and sweat wicking materials. And even though that he says like he thinks that they can imagine that these will happen, two of the things that he said have like already been announced with Asus and Lenovo. So there's a good chance that all four of the things that he imagined is actually in the works with other companies, you know. Yeah.
Dan, outside of like the workout one, right? I can understand that one, and it's something that it could potentially appeal to me. But like a gaming one, or the productivity one, or the movie one, right? What? Where are they getting the software for these things? Right? It's supposed to be from Quest, but Quest doesn't really have like movies to watch. Like if I have the best headset ever to watch movies, and I have the Quest platform, what am I going into to watch these movies?
Yeah, there must be the, you know, I think there must. I get, but you're right, because there's no like proper Netflix that has it in the best
Yeah,
resolution.
what am I going to watch?
There's no.
7 to 480p Netflix on my really cool high resolution Lenovo?
You would imagine that once like a Lenovo comes out, they'll partner with, like, you have Disney on Apple Vision, which is in its best that they've partnered with, right? So you would probably imagine that they'll partner with maybe not Disney, but maybe Prime or maybe Netflix or something like that. So right now, you're right. You're right. Nothing unless you preload your movies into there,
and the
right?
games, like nobody's. Then you need the devs to like make their games for these headsets, or somehow get these extra added haptics or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one that's really confusing to me. Like, my suggestion that it will probably just be it's basically a PC VR headset. It's your Rift kind of like feel, but has the Quest platform on there. Basically what the Quest 3 does, but then maybe, you know, the, like you said, the haptics for like the PlayStation VRs in the headset. You've got the OLED and you've got the eye tracking and such like that, and they can just go full ham on that and then get rid of like mixed reality and stuff like that is not really technically needed for the most purest gaming experience. So that's what, you know, and Asus would probably put a lot of like RGB lighting all over it too, and make it all
Amen.
wacky and such. So that could be that. The lightweight headset that pairs with your computer. I mean, they're doing a big Horizon Workrooms overhaul at the end of May. I spoke about it on my solo podcast that I did at the beginning of the month. That at the end of the May, they're completely revamping like Horizon. They're taking away a few features like the whiteboard and such, but it's meant to be better when it comes to like, you know, accessing your computer directly through there, which I'm excited about, because immersed is okay, but it has a lot of flaws. And then the Horizon app for Workrooms that I went into actually recently is very limited. Like, you have your one screen there, or maybe three, but it's a very fixed view. You can't make it bigger, you can't make it smaller and turn it around or anything like that. So they're revamping that, so that could be, you know, what they're looking for, the lightweight one. And then the exercise ones are given, like you mentioned, the exercise one's already there. So these things can just happen, you know. Once they come out with these kind of headsets, then Meta could definitely change it up. And plus, like you think of something like the Asus Rogue Ally is running Windows, but then they've got their own like layer on top of that, albeit not as streamlined as a Steam Deck, but they still have their own layer on top of that. So you can see Lenovo and Asus still putting their own layer on top of that. It would be like a custom Quest OS, like Quest Horizon OS will be like the stuff powering it, but then there'll be like a custom part on top of it potentially. Gotcha. Like custom Android on Samsung or something like that. But yeah, this is kind of exciting. It's interesting because I think I heard a rumor that Android, or like Google and Android, are coming out with their own kind of OS
Samsung,
for
right?
AR and VR. Yeah, exactly. And they should be announcing that at the next Google I/O, which I think is in May. So I guess that's kind of compete for that. Like, are you going to go? It's going to be like the iPhone and Android phone again, and be like, but there's a Windows phone. Is anyone going to use the Windows phone? And this could be could Meta be the Windows phone?
These will all just be. I have a hard time figuring out their price, and I feel like they'll be not cheaper than the Quest 3.
I think apart from maybe the lightweight headset that pairs with your computer on your desk to provide the best work experience, because that could be very limited and tethered for a reason. Apart from that, I think all of the other 3 headsets that they kind of mentioned, and the 2 that have been confirmed, are all going to be more expensive than the Quest 3 itself, because they can't subsidize it or anything like that. It'll be like Steam Deck and Asus Rogue Ally again, where the Asus is like $200-$300 more, just because it has to, more than anything. But yeah, it's interesting to see. It's an interesting move. My interest as well is like, say if one of us was to buy an Asus gaming headset which runs Horizon OS, will our games that work on Quest just transfer over to that Asus? Like, would they work seamlessly like they would do on a Steam Deck and a Steam platform on your PC? Like, would they work seamlessly in a way if they're compatible? Or will they still be locked to different stuff? I think it will, but we'll get into stores in a moment. Samson, there's also a limited edition Meta Quest with Xbox branding, which will include an Xbox gamepad in the box.
This looks pretty fly. You gonna get
one? So they put the screenshot in. It's going to be a black Quest 3, which is
we've always wanted a black one.
Yeah, I like the white one too. Yes, I would like one, to be honest. A black thing is, I'm interested because no, because it's Xbox brand. I mean, I couldn't even get the cloud gaming to work on my end, so I don't know about that, to be honest. I've tried it many times. The limited edition Meta Quest with Xbox branding is gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be really interesting to see what it is. I'm wondering.
It's just a Quest 3, dude. It's like getting the cool like Star Wars PlayStation 4 or whatever.
That's true. That's true. I was like wondering. I was like, could they potentially open up Xbox, like your Xbox One S, to start working with the Quest if you plugged it in, and you could play like Flight Simulator?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Xbox can have VR titles, but I'm wondering if they could open that platform a little bit with this partnership. But I
mean, maybe that's not what this is.
Yeah, just
a cool looking black Quest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Which will be a bit more because it will include a gamepad in the box.
Yeah, but I don't know that they disclose whether or not it will come with touch controllers. So
that's true. It must do.
And or maybe that's part of the partnership, they subsidize a controller or something like this. I don't
know. Yeah. Maybe a controller comes free with, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. There's more announcements, Samson. This is a big one.
This one sort of goes with the OS, though.
It does. It goes with the OS, but it's been coming for a while. So the App Lab is going away soon. Which is going to be excellent. So essentially it's going to happen in 2 phases. The first phase, which is probably going to happen sooner rather than later, you'll start seeing the App Lab tab in your store. Okay, so therefore, instead of needing to search the exact name or getting a link to go to this, because sometimes you search the exact name and you still can't find it, or it goes under like What is
the
it?
see more options or something.
See more options.
Yeah.
It's completely hidden. You'll have no idea unless you know what you're doing. Like regular users of Quest who are not looking into the news or anything like that probably don't know it exists. But that's now going to be more in line with the store, which is really nice. I actually really like that. But the second phase that's going to come soon, this is more like maybe at the end of the year, if next year, they will kill off the App Lab completely and merge it into one unified store. And the one unified store will adopt the App Lab's open requirements. So it will be more like
except like Steam.
Yeah, it'll be more like Steam, more like app stores and such like that, where right now you can only be kind of selected to get onto the Quest store, which a lot of developers were peed off on. But probably I would expect this to happen for probably next year. It's all going to be unified. And I think that goes
It'll
hand
take
in
that
hand.
long? 2025, you think?
Well, they said they're
For
going to be
part
two.
one?
It's going to be no. I think part one in terms of adding App Lab to it is going to be soon, but the second phase it will probably be next year. And the unified store is so important in terms of letting anyone upload, and obviously it still needs to meet their requirements with technical and content and such. But it's not just going to be rejected based on meta kind of thing. Probably be like the Google Play Store or something.
I'm real curious how this affects some games like Grab or games that have a player base but aren't necessarily like popular, so to say.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I'm curious.
I'm slightly worried that there'll be a lot of crap on the store as well. But that's just how all stores end up being like, and there's always ways to.
A lot of the stuff rises up, and I don't think it'll end up like Steam in the same sexy sense, if you catch my drift. And so I feel like the cream will rise to the top type of deal. Yeah, of course, there will be some buried treasure, but like Samurai Slaughterhouse, like now that's going to be there, right? Like a lot of these games depended so much on their release and the getting on podcasts or whatever for their marketing, and then that's just it, right? Because they don't want to keep sinking money into doing their own marketing.
Absolutely. I think this is very important and kind of potentially answers the question of will if a third party headset has the Quest software, will the stores be unified? And I think yes. I think probably Lenovo and Asus might end up having their own store potentially. I don't know, but without shadow of a doubt, they'll have the Quest store on there, and most likely you'll be able to just download your games onto said headset if they're compatible. Okay, there'll be a compatible option as well. So I think this works all hand in hand with them being a bit more open to their software and other headsets. And it also means that we're going to see a lot more headsets in the wild as well.
Yeah, I think Zuck said, though, that it's a few years apart. Or not apart, but out.
Definitely. It will take a few years to like build and do all that stuff, right? But I think 2026, you're going to start seeing a lot more headsets in the wild rather than your Meta, your PlayStation, and whatever your equivalent is on PC. I think there'll be a lot more consumer-based headsets soon with this sure. And obviously the Google's system coming out soon. All right. What are you munching on there? You got peanuts right there?
No, this fortune cookie that I'm going to read. I finally succumbed to it.
Next news story, you got the YouTube app. It now supports 8K 360 videos and 180-degree 3D videos on Quest 3, which is really fun. I have not tried this yet, but it looks like the whole app's got a bit of a revamp, a much-needed revamp. It's been dated. I think it's been the same for like years, the YouTube app, to be honest.
Forever.
I think it's been the same since Quest 1, to be honest. I don't think they've changed it at all, so...
it's had some updates, but nothing drastic.
Now you got something a bit more revamped. And then the final news story is Alien Rogue Incursion, or Incursion, right? Incursion. It's coming out to on Quest 3 this holiday, and PSVR, since we've been talking about it today, and PC as well. Nothing to note in the trailer itself, the teaser trailer. All it did was kind of just show the picture, the box art in a way. That's all That's all it did, and say it's coming this holiday. I anticipate that there's going to be a Quest Gaming Showcase in about a month's time or so, which I'm sure we'll do a live stream when it comes to that point. And you're probably going to get to know more on that one. Or if it's going to be PlayStation more centric, then you might see it in a state of play sooner rather than later, where you'll start to see gameplay. In terms of Alien, Samson, have you ever played Alien games before?
Never played, never watched the movies. I am not up on the Alien IP.
The first two Alien movies are wicked, FYI.
I was pretty unimpressed with this announcement trailer.
That's fair
as well.
It didn't give you much. Alien Isolation is a game that's beloved by a lot of people. You can even play it in VR, I think, now with the mods and such. The only problem with that game is that it was way too long, to be honest. So it gets exhausting. But
it felt isolating.
It did, yeah. That's a survival horror game that is beloved, and people kind of want this with this game. I'm not sure it's going to be like that. If you look on the poster and you zoom into the protagonist or whoever the person is in the middle, they're holding an assault rifle. And in Alien Isolation, you do not have any weapons, because the whole point of you is to survive in the land. I'm pretty sure you don't have any weapons. Now I'm questioning myself. I think that game came out in 2014, but it's definitely not an action first. And I think with the person holding the assault rifle, it feels like it's more of an action first game. So yeah, we'll see. If this, there's one thing I wanted to point out though, Samson. I think this is your first proper Quest 3 exclusive. Like your first big Quest 3
I think
title.
they said it's not Quest 2, right? It's only Quest 3.
That's true, actually. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. They said Quest 3, PSVR 2, and PCVR. Yeah, I don't think this is going to come to Quest 2 at all, and this might be the first of a few this holiday. There might be one or two more.
It checks out about a year. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this one got delayed.
I won't be surprised.
Let me see some gameplay. That's it, let me see.
Yeah, we're also waiting on Behemoth, aren't we, from the Walking Dead folks? That was announced ages ago. And
but at least that one keeps getting delayed.
Yeah, they're just going to put that on Quest 3 as well. But yeah, anyway, that will do for all of our news stories. Let's round the show off with part 3, where we'll talk about our games out this week. So we'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, games out this week. We've got 2 games out this week. I'm going to go for the first one. Sam's going for the second one. The first one is Smallland: Survive the Wilds VR. From the world of Smallland: Survive the Wilds, immerse yourself into the new epic single-player adventure as a small folk in a gigantic world. After centuries living underground, the small folk emerge from their burrows to reclaim the overland now that the giants have gone. Explore, scavenge, craft, and build as you fight to gain a foothold in the hostile new world. Samson, there's not a chance in hell that I'm playing this game. You're a small person. You know what happens when you're a small person? Mm-hmm. Insects are massive, and there are massive, gigantic spiders in this game.
Are you sure?
So it's not for me. I had enough from playing Nope. If you watch the trailer, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, this one's not for me. And moving on, that's Smallland: Survive the Wilds. I guess it used to be a flat screen game, or it is a flat screen game.
Yeah, I think it has a VR mod too. Or, you can kind of get that in there.
That's fair. After you.
Yes. Zendance, take aim with every breath. Every breath you take. A high-octane therapeutic thrill at full throttle. Zendance is a... Dan, did you mistype the title in the...
Zendance? Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah. Okay. Zengents. Not bad.
It's okay. I knew one of them must be wrong, though. All right. Zengents. Take aim with every breath. A high-octane therapeutic thrill at full throttle. Zengents is the first action shooter game where controlled breathing brings your inner strength and calm and helps you to silence your inner anxieties. Breath training and biofeedback built into 30 levels of intense gameplay. Straightforward to learn, but challenging to master. Daily challenges keep you coming back to sharpen your skills under new, constantly evolving challenge conditions. The Zen Garden is a separate space that teaches breathing techniques in a calm setting and transfers completion rewards to regular gameplay. Zengeance is more than just a game. It's a breath of fresh air. No, it's a journey to mental health resilience. Lock in, tone up, and unleash your potential.
I did not realize what this game was.
It's a meditation game?
Yeah, or breathwork game. When if you see the trailer, it looks like Pistol Whip. It looks like you're playing Pistol Whip with a bit more, I think, a bit more involvement than Pistol Whip. And
probably less breathing.
I didn't realize there's breath training involved, and biofeedback. I wonder how that works. I wonder how that
might
works.
use the mic.
Yeah, but it could use a mic, but then exactly. I don't know. Now I'm interested. I'm interested in this game now.
I'm not breathing loud enough. I keep losing.
I'm interested in this breathwork action shooter. Unless this game is way too expensive, or I've seen flops, reviews that flopped. This game, I'm gonna pick this one up. Pick this one up, which I haven't said many times when we do a games out.
You got 2 hours anyway.
I got 2 hours. Yeah, I got 2 hours. That'd be good. That'd be good for sure. That's it. That's everything. That's everything in our show. It's good to have you back on, Samson. Things feel back to normal over here on my sense, because I've just been talking to myself in front of the camera, and then obviously having some good guests on as well. But yeah, it's good to have you back. You felt like you never left in terms of the you went straight into it.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. In the Discord, this is already gone by now, but I think Dave has hosted the Italian Job on Wednesday, so the day before you are all watching this. Unless you're on the Patreon, then it's tonight. Then go, come join us in the Discord.
Come on down.
Patrons obviously get it a day early. Yeah, and then like you said, you've got the Grocket the week after. But definitely join us in the Discord. The links are in the description, and yeah, we'll see you in there, where we'll chat VR and potentially play VR and go from there. But Samson, take it away.
Take some time and really listen to your own inner wisdom.
That's beautiful, and that's why everyone should buy the Zen Garden game. Zengeance.
It goes well with Zengeance. Yeah.
Zengeance. All right. Take care, everyone.